I work out twice before everyone wakes up, so my call time is at 7. Then you back your clock up 4 hours and then that's when I get up. But I do it for a different reason. I do it to train my brain to say when I say now, it means now. When I say go, we go. I don't stand there because it's cold and go maybe in a minute. When I'm ready, I'm waking up these days around 6 a.m. 6:30 a.m. I get up around somewhere between 6 and 8 every morning. I wake up at 3:30 more and 4 o'clock in the morning. So it started off 4 o'clock in the morning where I'd start myself with my cardio, then I'd have breakfast, and then I would go to the gym, and then I'd go to work every day off, jump out of bed. It starts first of all every morning. I get up and people think I love to run. I don't. Running has changed my life because every morning I know I'm gonna do it, not wanting to be just uncomfortable. I put myself in the dungeon. Boom, that wakes you up. Okay, you need that cortisol to get you springing out of bed. You're in the gym, you're struggling, you're out of breath, you're pushing hard, you're putting yourself into that stressful fight or flight mode. Other days you gotta work a little bit more for it, and for me what I've learned is those hard days, the days that are the most challenging, are always the most rewarding. Get up at the same time every day, and I would recommend in the morning because that's when people generally get up and it's good to do. If you have a good reason not to, when I wake up I make a beeline for sunlight. The single best thing you can do for your sleep, your energy, your mood, your wakefulness, your metabolism is to get natural light in your eyes early in the day. I would say this is the fundamental step of any good morning, and if you don't do this enough you are messing yourself up in a number of ways. This is your time, but you have to get your head straight and you got to get your energy strong, and that's not easy. And if you don't have 10 minutes for your life, you don't have much of a life. Alright, what does my average daily schedule consist of? Well, that's fairly straightforward. I get up around somewhere between 6 and 8, and then I work till 10 as hard as I can flat out every single day. So when I've been doing that for with very little variation, although it's been much more extreme in the last year, for since 1985, I work probably, well, I work, I would say 14 hours a day, at least 14 hours a day, and so that's about 100 hours a week, and of that time that I don't do that I spend with friends but mostly with my family. And so yeah, and I work as efficiently as I possibly can. I'm always trying to do everything I can as fast as I possibly can, and I'm accustomed to that because, like I said, I've been doing it for 30 years. If you are an anxious person and that's manifesting itself in, say, neurotic over analysis, there's 2 things you can do very rapidly, 3 things really that will help quell that. Well, 4 things even. Number 1, get up at the same time every day, and I would recommend in the morning because that's when people generally get up, and it's good to do what everyone else does unless you have a good reason not to. Number 2, eat a large breakfast. Right, keep it carbohydrate light. Don't eat, don't toast and and Fruit Loops. That's not going to do the trick. Make it fat and protein heavy and eat more than you want. You might say, I'm not hungry in the morning. It's this has nothing to do with what you want or what your appetite is. It's you need to eat in the morning. If you're an anxious person and you don't eat in the morning and then you stress yourself Out your body hyper produces insulin. It takes all the blood sugar out of your blood and that dysregulates your metabolism for the entire day. You can't reset it till you go to sleep at night. And I've had lots of anxious clients who would say fall into the over-analytic category, who were like virtually cured by eating a large breakfast every morning. I would highly recommend that you could try some physical exercise. Weightlifting is really good for curing anxiety. Another thing you could do, as I alluded to earlier today, is to make a schedule and start attending to your daily micro routines. Well, there I have certain fundamentals that haven't changed. I think I've shared with you before. The first thing I do every single morning is I go in freezing cold water, and I've shared this with many people. It's not because I'm a masochist, but because it moves the lymph of your body, as you well know, and when you jump in, it never feels good to go in, but getting out you feel incredible. But I do it for a different reason. I do it to train my brain to say, when I say now, it means now. When I say go, we go. I don't stand there because it's cold and go maybe in a minute when I'm ready. And I think I've shared with you before, I don't think I've ever had a morning I look forward to jumping in that water ever, but I always do it because I've trained my brain. This is how we work, and if you train your brain to do that every single day, then it'll do it on the more difficult and important things in life. But I do my priming. I think you're familiar with which is I do 10 minutes, and I pick 10 minutes because if I said do 20 minutes or 30, I don't have right. But if you don't have 10 minutes for your life, you don't have much a life. So I work on both business side of the life and personal one of each, and in order for either one of those, the work, you need to be in a strong emotional state. And if you start with your body, like I start every morning in my cold water staying morning with my workout. I started every morning. I'm feeding my mind right. So there's certain things you got to do physically so you're strong enough to remember the truth, because remember, fear is physical. You feel your throat or your gut, so it's courage. Courage doesn't mean you're not afraid, it just means you're strong enough. You push through in spite of the fear, right? And courage feels different in the body. So when you go lift, or you go for a sprint or a strong run, or you jump in that freezing water, when you push your mind, you go beyond what's comfortable. You feel a strength inside you, and that strength will help you to change your body, your emotions, relationships, whatever. I'm waking up these days around 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. When I wake up, I make a beeline for sunlight. The single best thing you can do for your sleep, your energy, your mood, your wakefulness, your metabolism, is to get natural light in your eyes early in the day. And if you live in an area where it's very cloudy outside, just know that the sunlight, the photons coming through that cloud cover, are brighter than your brightest indoor lights. I would say this is the fundamental step of any good morning, and if you don't do this enough, you are messing yourself up in a number of ways. This sets in motion a huge number of different neurobiological and hormonal cascades that are good for you. Reduces stress late at nights, offsets cortisol, a million different things really. I hydrate, I drink water, and then I have this obsession with trying to do one cognitively hard thing a day, one physically hard thing a day. In that 90 minutes, I'll typically try and read a research article start to finish, or I'll work on a document that I might Be doing a grant or research paper you know, so I do, and I don't think there's a default template for success, but I think there's things that you can do to put yourself in the best position to succeed. You know, I talk about the one thing in business you can control is effort. You know, going out there and sales curing all you know, so I think you know, and I agree with your point that there are things that if you do them you put yourself in a best position to succeed. You know, they're out there trying to take you down, and they're not just going to sit still, and if you're good, really really good, you're going to inspire them to work even harder, faster, better. And so you have to be, you know, very self-aware of what you're good at and what other people are good at, and that's the brains part, and that's the effort part as well, because look, if you're competing with me, you better know what you're doing, otherwise I'm gonna kick your ass, you know, and you're not gonna outwork me. And so you know, the combination is usually what kills businesses early on more than if you outwork everybody. If you try to be a little smarter than everybody, if you try to be a better salesperson than everybody, if you try to be better prepared than everybody, you've got your best chance, because if you don't do it and somebody else does, you know, I have the same work, like someone's trying to take it all away from you. You know, work you can actually work like someone spending 24 hours working 24 hours to take it all away from you, and that's kind of the way I look at it now when I think about a morning routine and what order I'm gonna do things in. Then it has to do with what's going on in my life at that point. What's the most important thing to me in that moment? So when I'm really focused on getting my physique in order, I'm focused on the gym as being the thing that I want to make sure that no matter what else happens during the day, I get that done. Then I do that first, and that really is what slot number 1 is for in any morning routine, is what is the most important thing that you know, no matter what else falls by the wayside during this day. If it gets crazy, things will crop up that I know that I'm going to get that thing. One of the beliefs you have to get in line is that it's worth getting out of bed, that you want to do this new thing, that you want to stop doing thing and start doing things. B. You're in the gym, you're struggling, you're out of breath, you're pushing hard, you're putting yourself into that stressful fight or flight mode. Boom, that wakes you up. Okay, you need that cortisol to get you springing out of bed. Let me tell you one set. I'm breathing heavy, my blood is pumping, and boom, all of a sudden I'm wide awake. This is your S, and heard nothing but fear, so you got to take back control. Music.